When I was a wee lad, my mother taught me that if someone was mean to me, poked fun at me, or wanted to fight at school, the bigger person always walks away and doesn't engage. Clearly, this is a lesson that Conor McGregor has either forgotten, chosen to ignore, or never received altogether. So stay tuned and don't go away, because Conor McGregor challenges PJ Gallagher and Paul McGrath to a 2-versus-1 charity boxing match. And Conor McGregor needs talking down before making career-threatening decisions, says Chael Sonnen. First up, will Conor McGregor ever put his big boy pants on? I wouldn't hold my breath. Despite being 34 years old, Conor McGregor has yet to put his big boy pants on. And now the UFC star from Crumlin, Dublin is seeing his career crumbling. McGregor was recently ground and pounding his smartphone with his thumbs in a Twitter fight with Irish radio host and comedian PJ Gallagher and Irish footballing legend Paul McGrath. After verbally assaulting Gallagher and McGrath with juvenile name-calling and personal attacks and profanity-laced tirades, Conor escalated the situation to the level he loves most: physical violence. Conor called out Gallagher and McGrath, challenging them to 2-versus-1 charity boxing match. I'm fairly certain that Conor added the charity part to try and distract people from the fact that he's attempting to, yet again, resolve a personal conflict with violence. Conor, if you're watching this video, listen up. It's time to put your big boy pants on. The McGregor-Gallagher-McGrath kerfuffle began when Gallagher reposted a tweet showing UFC broadcaster Laura Sanko mistakenly claiming that McGregor was a British fighter. Gallagher captioned Sanko's retweet with the words, "Normally, this kind of thing winds me up, but they can have this, lad." Not surprisingly, Conor's response to Gallagher's remarks was way over the top. Conor said, "PJ Gallagher, you little sad pox of a thing. Sit upright and smile for a change, will you? You sad little cunt. Ha ha ha. Wife left you and all, and you're crying in the paper about depression. Posture like a prawn. Sad b****. I am Ireland. Don't forget it. There's blood on my flag." Next up, how did former Manchester United and Republic of Ireland footballer Paul McGrath get thrown into the mix? You're about to find out. Former Manchester United and Republic of Ireland footballing legend Paul McGrath did the right thing and stood up for Gallagher. McGrath tweeted to Gallagher, "PJ, take no notice of bullies. You're loved by everyone. Whatever you do, don't let them get the better of you, pal. Stay well, top man." McGrath and McGregor went back and forth for a while on Twitter until McGregor's mind and vocabulary became exhausted, and the UFC champ proceeded to go into caveman mode, suggesting that McGrath and McGregor settle the matter with their fists in a boxing ring, Conor's preferred method of dispute resolution. Conor said, "I challenge PJ and Paul McGrath to a 2-versus-1 boxing match in aid of mental health and anti-bullying organizations." The irony of Conor trying to settle a dispute with violence in order to benefit mental health and anti-bullying organizations is absolutely priceless. It's classic Conor McGregor, and his recent behavior reminds me of Donald Trump's infamous Twitter days. Like Trump, somebody needs to tell Conor to put the phone down before he says or does something he can't take back. Because once something's on the internet, it's there forever. Conor's tweet and delete tactics won't work if someone screenshots his distasteful tweets. Up next, what is Chael Sonnen's sage advice for Conor McGregor? Let's find out. According to mixed martial arts superstar and former politician Chael Sonnen, Conor McGregor needs to think twice before he makes career-threatening or career-ending decisions. In addition to Conor's recent Twitter rampage against Gallagher and McGrath, Conor expressed his intentions to eventually make a move up to the middleweight division. Conor has posted several pics on social media flaunting his new gains in muscle mass, and fans are definitely talking about it. But his physical transformation has clearly gone to his head, and he now wants to take a stab at fighting in heavier weight classes in the future. McGregor tweeted, "I'm gonna give middleweight a go at some point, 100%. Chael Sonnen thinks that McGregor ought to think twice before moving up a weight class before his brain and mouth write a check that his fist can't cash. In a recent video posted on his YouTube channel, Sonnen said, "Conor can't just go up to 185. We want to see you win a fight in your weight class. There's a level of proof that you need, and if you have the arrogance to believe you can go up to 185 pounds, gotta tell you about the time I tried to fight Daniel Cormier. I got a real hard talk, and I think maybe it's time you sit down and we have that same talk." Conor is a former featherweight and lightweight UFC champ, but the heavier weight divisions are an entirely different ballgame. The competition in the upper weight divisions is absolutely fierce. However, my advice to Conor is to go for it. Why? Because I think the results will be disastrous, and I don't know of any other fighter in the UFC who's in such desperate need of a reality check as Conor McGregor. I thought Dustin Poirier was Conor's reality check, but clearly I was wrong. Stay tuned and don't go away, because we're about to bring you the latest UFC news. Next up, what is Forrest Griffin's message to the late Stephan Bonnar? We're about to find out. Recently, the combat sports world was rocked by the sad news that Stephan Bonnar had died on Christmas Eve. Over the past few days, fans, fighters, and people across the MMA community from far and wide paid their respects online to Bonnar, a finalist from Season 1 of the Ultimate Fighter reality TV show. Former UFC light heavyweight champion Forrest Griffin was friends with Bonnar and was shaken by his sudden death. Griffin took to Twitter and shared some words on the passing of his two-time opponent, saying, "Stephan was a lot of things. He was always the most interesting person in the room, he had the biggest heart, and most importantly, he was my friend. I always loved it that people got excited when they found out that we were really friends. I'll always miss you, brother." Griffin and Bonnar first fought in April of 2005. The pair went toe-to-toe for 15 minutes, gave fans the action-packed fight they wanted, and it was precisely what the UFC needed at the time, because the promotion was struggling financially and remained on the fringes of the sports world. Experts have long believed that Griffin vs. Bonnar was a milestone for the UFC, and to this day, their fight is considered one of the most important fights in UFC history. Griffin defeated Bonnar by unanimous decision, but both fighters received a six-figure contract with the UFC due to their epic, crowd-pleasing performances. In a news release, the UFC said Bonnar died from presumed heart complications while at work. He was only 45 years old. UFC President Dana White said, "Stephan Bonnar was one of the most important fighters to ever compete in the octagon." Up next, does Bellator's Patrizio Freire really earn more than the UFC heavyweight champion? Let's take a look. Patrizio Freire recently raised some eyebrows when he said, "I make more per fight than the UFC heavyweight champion." 2022 was a year to remember for Bellator featherweight champ Patrizio Freire. Patrizio won back the 145-pound belt in a rematch against AJ McKee at Bellator 277 back in April, and successfully defended the crown for a second time against Hungarian contender Adam Borics at Bellator 286 in October. On New Year's Eve, Patrizio will conclude his campaign with a matchup against Risen Fighting Federation champ Kleber Koik-Herbst. During a recent interview, Patrizio said, "I screamed so loud about the importance of having cross-promotion challenges that someone on the other side of the world heard. I truly hope this show promoted by Bellator and Risen is the first of many and serves as an example for other organizations." Patrizio is keenly aware of the kind of opponent he faces in Kleber, who has won his last 7 bouts and is a submission master. Patrizio added, "Koike is very dangerous. Everybody who underestimated him got choked out, and I won't make that mistake. I studied his fights a lot." Patrizio also disputes the pay figures released from his Bellator 286 win over Borics. According to salary figures released by the California State Athletic Commission, Patrizio earned $150,000 for the fight. But Patrizio says that's baloney. He said, "Pure fake news. That was my purse back in 2012. I cannot talk about numbers, but I can guarantee you for sure that today I make more money per fight in Bellator than the UFC heavyweight champion." I wonder what Jake Paul would have to say about that. Next up, would fight IQ be the deciding factor in a matchup between Dustin Poirier and Islam Makhachev? Absolutely. According to UFC lightweight Drew Dober, in a potential lightweight title fight between Dustin Poirier and Islam Makhachev, fight IQ would be the winning factor. Despite losing to Khabib Nurmagomedov, Dober thinks that Poirier would put up an incredible fight against Nurmagomedov's protege, Islam Makhachev. Dober says, "Dustin Poirier could give Makhachev some problems." During a recent interview, Dober said, "That would be a close fight. Really, the fight IQ in that fight would be the winning factor." In a few months, Makhachev is set to defend his lightweight title against Alexander Volkanovski, and Poirier is coming off a submission victory over Michael Chandler at UFC 281. Dober himself is coming off a knockout victory over Bobby Green at UFC Vegas 66, and he's now moved into the top 15 UFC lightweight rankings. I think if Poirier goes up against Makhachev and stays calm and composed, he'll be victorious. The Diamond has tremendous fight IQ, and he's a skilled tactician with a lot of heart, who's always kind, respectful, and humble. Clearly, I'm a fan of the Diamond, and I think a matchup with Makhachev is perfect for him at this juncture in his career. But I want to know what you think. Who do you think will walk away victorious in a Poirier-Makhachev matchup? You know who my money's on. And finally, some UFC trivia. Who has the most knockouts in UFC history? Derek Lewis is the current knockout king of the UFC with 13 KO TKO wins to his name. I don't know about you, but I absolutely love when the Black Beast steps into the octagon. Aside from being one of the UFC's most entertaining fighters, he's also hilarious. Lewis openly admits that he hates gyms and working out, preferring instead to sit on his couch, smoking a few joints. The UFC wouldn't be the same without you, Derek. Keep up the great work. That's a wrap for today's video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this, and we'll see you in the next one.